The Woodlands Health and Rehab Center is the right choice for rehab at home. Our therapy department, with the assistance of our experienced clinical team, will transition you home quickly and safely. The Woodlands Health and Rehab Center, living made better.
The next item that we have tonight is you had presented us, we had asked at the last meeting, I think Mr. Clements had asked at the last meeting to get a sense of revenues versus possible expenditures for some other projects, and asked Ms. Snead-Johnson to line out the priorities of those projects to give us some ideas of things to work towards. So I think you've got some information that's been presented on the table, if you want to walk us through that tonight.
Okay, the possible expenditures are down the left-hand side and the revenues are on the right-hand side. As Rebecca has indicated, she doesn't have a clear understanding of where we stand with remaining dollars for this fiscal year. So we are not able to tell you that tonight, but we do feel like there is money to start some projects. The asbestos is CHS. I outlined that before, and you all had a copy of the proposal from our Wes Hambrick, our asbestos consultant. And if we do one stairwell completed project from top to bottom, it's about $30,000. And if we would happen to have the money to do two stairwells, it will be in the range of $50,000 to $60,000. Mr. Hambrick did have to do a 20-day notice to the Department of Labor in case we were able to do a project. He did submit that 20-day documentation that's required, but he understands that we're still looking at whether we have the revenues to do the project. So does the contractor. He's going to come back in 3 days, and whether he's here or in July, and give us an evaluation of the asbestos at CHS with $1,000 maximum the cost of the project.
Okay.
B is our parking lot situation.
Back up just a second, discussion on that. With that in mind, what procedure, he's got to file that application that it may be done, then he can put that out somewhat for bid in two fashions, one stairwell, both stairways.
And he's done that
We
already.
have, okay. Has he gotten, I mean, that's being processed.
Yes.
So those numbers will be back to us when?
The numbers are already back. We don't have to bid a project of this size because of the money revenues, and there is a contractor who has done work for him and will do work for us. This is the cost. The cost was on the project outline that you got in May for these projects.
So that's the actual cost. It's not going to be bid for additional pricing.
Not at this late date. If you want to delay it,
No, I was just
But it's a
asking.
50 to 60 range in there.
it's three different contractors. And if they're under $50,000, you don't have to bid them out.
No, I understand, but we have, if we're doing both of them, that range, it's there at 50 or 60. You know, which one is it going to cost us, 50 or 60 is going to be my question.
It's probably going to be closer to the 60.
But there should be, and based on what he had said before and what he said years ago, there should be some pretty tremendous savings by doing both of them.
He has said that, and
But if it's 30 for one and 60 for two, there's no savings there.
I know.
I'm,
Sounds like it's the same price.
I'm conservative as well. I felt like the $60,000 was on the high side, but that's what it. He will tell you it'll save us money if we do both projects right now. I don't know that we have that kind of money
Right.
to do it right now.
You feel comfortable, I mean, without final numbers, but you even made the reference too. It sounds like that you feel comfortable there is possible money for at least one being unknown right now.
Yes, but depending on how many of these other things, that if anybody
Correct.
decides to do other things there.
Right.
I
So
think,
we'll let-
in my thoughts on tonight, and we've had some conversation, besides the variables from the state, there's still some other variables on some maybe substantial amounts of money that we should look at and discuss, and if there's two or three things that are a must in here, and we can decide on that, because we have voted on the asbestos up to $50,000 if funding was available, so we don't need to
Right.
make a decision on that. That's in,
Correct.
you know, unless we just decide we run out of money, that's a
Right.
done deal.
Exactly.
Up to the
Exactly.
$50,000 there. But there may be some other things, and I look at, that we'll get down to, like air conditioning things, that we need to make a decision. But point there being that even come Monday, we may have a lot better hold on how much money we have
Right.
for multiple reasons
Correct.
that we can look at, discuss need for, and weed out maybe some tonight, but making decisions tonight. We should wait and see how much money we got, because there's going to be a pretty substantial amount
Correct.
that may show up, or we may be buried by the state and we can't do any of it. So, hopefully by Monday, we would have a better plan. So,
Right.
making some decision on these, the asbestos, like I said, we voted on that unless we just have no money. That's kind of our top priority here.
Sure. Mr. Clements, I agree with you. There's a lot of different things on here. Let's let Ms. Snead-Johnson kind of walk
Right,
through all
right.
of them.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back and talk
Yeah.
any questions, because I think she's got some insight she can give us on each
And I
area.
also wanted you to have this tonight, so perhaps you all could think some more about
Right.
it over the weekend and have
This
some
is
more
a
discussions
working
Monday night.
document.
Right.
This isn't a final
Yeah.
decision tonight by no means.
All of our parking lots, CHS, Edgemont, and Jeter Watson, all need some work. There are cracks, there needs to be some sealing, and they all definitely need some lines. So there are a couple of area contractors that are actually preparing bids for us about whether they'll just do the sealing piece, or whether they'll just do the crack piece, or whether they'll do it all, and I should have an answer on that on Monday night.
Okay, good.
But that has been one of the principal's priorities as well, is to get this done.
Okay.
The security upgrades, there was a superintendent's memo that came out. There was state money allotted for security grants. And that application, should we decide to apply, will fund 75% of these costs. And we got security upgrades to the CHS cameras in the amount of $25,806 back in January. It could be a little bit more now. We got one, this is a low estimate on the Jeter Watson Edgemont primary school cameras that need an upgrade. I put $2,000. We're trying to get a final quote on that. And this school board office has no security system, no locks, and that's $26,770. So this requires a 25% match. As Rebecca says, this is money we apply for. When you have it, it would be nice to apply for it if you all give me that permission to move forward. I think security is something that's on everybody's mind.
And
I don't know if there's more.
25% was, how much did you tell me earlier?
51, 53, about
13,000.
13,000. I was going to say
13,000.
12,500,
Yeah,
13,000.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And then there are some on item D, air conditioning. There are some air conditioning units in the school division that need work, need replacement. Actually, the CHS kitchen unit has gone out. We've been working with local vendors. We've got a range of about $4,500 to replace that unit. 200A at CHS is an upper room, and it's a unit on the roof, would cost about $8,500. And the media room at Jeter Watson holds all of our servers, all of our computer documentation, and that would be about $7,200. And we need to really seriously look at that air
I think that
conditioning.
one should be moved to the top of
Absolutely.
that
Right.
I'd
list.
put that
The Jeter
at the
Watson
top of the-
media.
Yes.
Yeah, let's move that one on up
Because you
into
can't
item.
replace that data if it's
No.
lost.
Absolutely not.
And you said the kitchen unit had been replaced?
It has been replaced in the past, but it needs to be replaced again. There's a couple
Okay.
units in that kitchen. One is out, not working at all, and those ladies get very warm
Right.
in there. So it needs to be considered. And then Shane has been concerned, item E, about this phase loss relay, which is something to do with should we lose power. And we have had one replacement at the new building that was on, I guess, Dominion Power's watch. The next time this happens, it's our responsibility, and it's a cost of about $11,000.
Okay.
We do need some vehicle replaced in item F. We need a maintenance van to replace Shane's vehicle. We actually put a bid out on surplus sale community services board. They were opening bids today. I don't know if we got that bid or not, but we are looking for a good used maintenance van. If we didn't get win that bid. There's one that Shane's looking at that he has found in another area for about $3,500. The one locally was for $1,200 is what we put the bid out for. A maintenance truck, I have local vendors looking for a maintenance truck. Sam's truck's not going to make it forever, and we need a good solid 3/4 ton truck to put a snowplow on. It's working right now, but it's had a lot of replacement to it. And Brenda and I, with Shane's approval, did purchase on 5/29 an Astro van for $4,500 to replace some of the aging vehicles we have out here in this lot. It's a good used vehicle. Looks very fine. It's very clean on the inside. It rides very good, and I think it'll be a good vehicle for us to use for our staff and our students. G is some mowers. We have a zero-turn mower at Covington High School that may need replacement. This is how much it costs from Farm and Fuel. Might be able to be found somewhere else. We could use another push mower at $325, and then the Edgemont Jeter Watson riding mower could be replaced, could be another replacement. Have two on hand, $4,500. We have working mowers, but they're in need of upgrade, repair. Keep one kind of on a standby in case one goes down. Snow blowers, he's been talking about replacing snow blowers. Sears has a sale. We can get one snow blower for $800 or two for $1,600. This might be something we can just do with money we have in the system somewhere. Replacement parts are needed in the future for some compressors, some fans, some valves and switches at Edgemont and Jeter. The new building is almost 9 years old, and there are things that need to be continuing replaced and updated. And then Jay, we've talked about replacing the lights in the CHS gym, and we did get a quote back in the fall for $11,751 to replace those lights in Covington High School. Totally replace the lights, not just a light bulb, but a new lighting system. There's probably others. I feel like these get us a good start on making some priority decisions about how we can move forward with any extra dollars we might have.
It's a very good comprehensive list of many things that we've talked about in the past, and it puts it in priority order. I think Bert was correct in the sense of moving that one item up. I think that's pretty important, but definitely this is something for us to review. And after Monday, we should have a better feel for what revenues look like.
And I'd like to thank Shane Reed too. He's helped go out and get these contractors to come in and give us these quotes. And I hope we can do some of them. I know our local people work hard, do a good job, and if we could support them in some of these projects, that would be great. So this is for your thoughts, your suggestions, and again, we've got to see what kind of dollars we have.
I would definitely bring this with you Monday night because we'll go back over it again.
One question I would have too, and this goes back a lot of years, but the replacement parts, fans, compressors, valve switches, that's basically inventory parts that he wants to keep.
Right, on hand.
Okay, now my question would be, is not most of these parts available overnight from somewhere?
They are.
And we had several years ago some discussion on this, and I'm not sure Cindy even remember being on, but we had a lot of inventory parts that were obsolete now.
Right, because we had so much.
So we bought some that we never used.
Right. And with today's world, hopefully, with the exception of some things like those tubes we got into that we were just sold, but most of these parts being readily available, and I think I'm looking at like the Mitsubishi air conditioning parts and things. What they don't have them run if you have in Atlanta, Georgia.
That's right.
And if you call them at 3 o'clock today, by noon tomorrow, we have it.
That's right.
And unless it's something real critical, I'm not up for spending a lot of money on inventory parts. That's my take on it there, because that's the scenario. I mean, if something's going to break down and close at school, or many of those things that's going to happen that you can't get by for 24 hours. In today's world, they can't come from California in 24 hours.
I got ready to say with the
And it's going to cost you 80 or 90 or 150 bucks to get it, but it's out there. If not, if there's something really weird that we should have one on hand, that's okay. But the convenience of having things on the shelf, I understand that. But even in my own business, it's too easy. I mean, it's just, it's incredible what I can accumulate that I have ordered and just didn't use, that had to use. And suddenly I send back $800
That's
worth
right.
of stuff
Right.
that's laying on my shelf. It's been there for 6 months, you know, and I may sell it tomorrow after I send it back. It's a whole different thing, depending on when the car comes in, but it's there and it's just costing money. There's just too many different things, and a lot of that's the same story here.
Correct.
We can't possibly have every part that we need for broken parts. In the olden days of schools, every boiler and every stoker and all the schools were pretty much identical.
Right.
And they would keep a valve. It fit everything,
Right.
you know, but that's a whole different, and then too, it took a week to get something or 2 weeks to get
Right.
something. But unless there's something real critical, I'm not big on inventory parts.
Well, I think-
It's a convenience more than necessity.
Yeah, I would maintain the bare necessities
That's exactly
in
right.
regards to
Yeah.
that, but, and if he can articulate that there's specific things
Right.
that he knows,
Yeah.
then that's a different story, but as far as,
Right.
having bulk of things.
I don't think we want to spend our funding on inventory that may or may not
Right.
be used. I think that we need to
Yeah.
utilize it in other places.
Not that those
we
things
won't
aren't
spend it as-
important.
Right. and
When we
But-
need it,
Right.
but just
Right.
not sitting on the shelf. That's all.
It's easier for us
Yeah.
to appropriate some dollars to find
Exactly.
something that is actual necessity at that
That's a
given
need,
time.
as opposed to,
And as we had some discussion, I think more discussion on the need for mower and shopping for mowers.
Right.
You know, I'm not sure, and I know they're hard used and it's a lot of area, but is there something, if we do need a mower that, for $2,200, we can buy the best thing Sears had, hypothetically, instead of a $4,500 somewhere?
yeah.
Is that an option of what we can use, especially if we're gonna have two?
Correct.
If we can use one as a spare. Now, if we do need a push mower, right now, you should buy a really good one at Sears for $200.
I got ready to say you could
Instead
get a
of
good deal.
$350 or
Yeah.
$340.
And we might need to go ahead and try
Yeah.
to purchase some of those. Yeah.
Some of those things that are small items that we know we have funds now, I would definitely think that would be wise to go ahead, especially with the sale going on.
Definitely.
And then, obviously, as Mr. Clements just indicated, they may have larger size mowers. It may not be exactly what we're looking for, but it may fit our need at a much reasonable price. So,
And you
Exploring
think
those
about the
options.
use, our school lawnmowers are nothing like the recreation department, as far as the amount of use that they are. There are people in the area who will use a riding mower more hours in a year than Covington High School will.
Right.
There are people that have residences that will do
Right.
that.
right.
So, that's a consideration as well, that we don't want to buy a cheap piece of junk.
Right.
However, the heaviest, biggest industrial thing, is that what we need? The zero turn is a great thing, but, will a $3,500 lawnmower cut that lawn just as well and just as quick?
Right.
The guys using it don't really care that it's a little bit quicker or not,
Right.
So, there's just some other factors. If there's a sincere need for a mower, that's what I'm saying, let's explore a lot of options, if there is a sincere need.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or thoughts on
I
this?
don't think so.
Okay.
Mr. Baker, was that a yes?
Of course. Ms. Preston and I were discussing how some of these things that are a necessity to us, that we need or will need throughout the coming school year or 2 years, we shouldn't be ashamed to ask if somebody
I
would,
just wrote down,
Uh-huh.
can we get donations?
would
And that's exactly what I
local
wrote on my paper.
businesses in
Yes,
the city,
Yeah,
alumni,
definitely.
that would be willing to
or
contribute.
that would like to stand in front of Mr. Clark's camera,
We will give
and
credit to
give
those
us-
donations.
Definitely.
Yes,
donate to their,
Yeah.
where they went to school at.
That's
you
right.
know, Or because they just want to give back to the city,
Yeah,
because
that's
maybe they've benefited from a
Yes.
student from Covington High School that has contributed to their workforce
that's
and made a
exactly right.
significant difference in their local business.
Right.
Definitely.
Or they're an alumni that they want to
Yes.
give back to their school. And it may be
Exactly.
a small
So
contribution.
So we are willing and,
Just
Right.
put it out.
And we
Put it out
live in
there
a
and-
community, don't we do?
We do live in a
We
community
live in
that
a
cares about,
community, yes.
cares about their school, and we
Definitely.
ask for community involvement, and this is an
Definitely.
opportunity for
Definitely.
someone to be able to do that. So we certainly
Yes.
would appreciate any help that can be
Yes.
given, and we thank you for allowing us to get that message out.
Yes.
So, very good. But truly, we're all working together, and we look forward to community support with all that we do, and this will be a great way that could help us too.
Well,
So, very good.
I will say that everyone that we have reached out to, as far as some of these vehicles, they're looking for us, good used vehicles, some of these, Mr. Halsey, Right Way Motors, people are looking out to help us.
Right.
And also, I'm sure some of the other things people would help us with as well, if they were asked. And I also reached out to Community Services Board because that's where we
Yeah.
put
Very
in the
good.
bid for the surplus vehicle. And I also talked to Ms. Barber about whether we have bought in years past some, they had some copiers and some printers, and we bought them
Oh,
in
good.
years past.
Yes.
And we're looking to see if we can, share things with other people in our community. And she's going to get back to me about whether they have some items we might be able to do something for them in return. So we are
Very
trying to
good.
look at all those different resources.
That's very positive. Excellent. Any other questions? Yes,
I
Ms.
have one other
Snead-Johnson?
thing when you all are through.
All right. Just bring this with you on Monday night, give some thought to it, and then we may have further updates and definitely updates on the revenues, so we can have further discussions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I did that the other night.
No problem.
This is your big homework. So
This
I
is
will
our homework.
I will explain what's in there.
Just keep
It's time for policy changes.
Okay.
And these are the May policy updates that we need to have ready for July 1 because they will impact. So if you look in the, and we also have, this will be for the June 1st school board meeting.
Okay.
If you look inside your orange folder, you will see an outline of the different policies that have been sent to us by the Virginia School Board Association for updates or changes, and they do reflect current actions of the General Assembly. So we usually adopt them. So I have reviewed them, our staff here has reviewed them, and we have concluded that these are ones that we want you to consider.
Okay.
The ones in the back, in yellow, those are our local policies, and sometimes we interject some local policies in these white policy pages. So you can see where they are and how we will do them. And then it's also, every 4 years, we update our personnel management, our human resources document, which is policy GCVCAL. And you have a document in blue and green colors that outlines the changes we have made to reflect the current changes in laws like family medical leave, like insurance, like retirement. And what Darlene and I have done is outline the changes in our personnel management policy. You will see our current policy. She has written current. These are the changes that we would like you all to consider giving us permission to do.
Sure. And we will vote on that on Monday
Monday
to
night.
accept, to be
Yes.
effective for July 1,
Yes,
correct?
yes. And these are the revisions of the policies and their explanations and all the policies that need changes. And they do need to be in effect for July 1.
Okay.
And if you'll bring this back with you Monday night, we will not send it home tomorrow. We will send your packets home for the June 11th board meeting, which is Monday night. But we wanted to go ahead and give you this in
Good.
advance.
Okay, thank you. All right.
And if you have any questions, if you do have time to review before Monday's meeting, if you want to call and ask us any questions, we would be glad to help you and give you an answer. Yeah.
Okay, very good.